How do we learn to accept and love the bodies we are in? And how do we learn to feel comfortable in our skin when, on one hand, we are told to love our bodies just the way they are, and then on the other hand, we are told that if we don't like anything about ourselves, we can easily change it. We are told that we are beautiful no matter what, but we also witness people getting shamed for not fitting into some stereotypical beauty standard. Everyone seems to be praising natural beauty, but then we all go and put filters on all of our photos. We praise people showing off stretch marks and belly rolls, but we still keep praising women for losing weight or for looking 20 years younger than their actual age. And every few months, we come up with yet another stupid, dangerous trend that contributes to the idea of unrealistic beauty standards, only to vanish and be replaced by another fleeting trend a few months later. So, how can we love our bodies when society and social media tell us not to? I'll try to answer all that and more in today's episode. Hi there, my name is Anna, but you can call me Anchi, and I'm a host of the Binge on Self-Love podcast. If this is your first time listening, welcome and thank you so much for being here. And if you've tuned in before, it's great to have you back. Binge on Self-Love podcast started with me in my bedroom, recording and sharing my journey with binge eating disorder and with procrastination. But we are so much more than our eating disorder, and we are so much more than our problems. So this podcast is essentially about accepting yourself and everything that comes with it. Growth, pain, relationships, boundaries, habits, comparison, body image, confidence, you name it. Plus, you'll catch me having some insightful conversations with fantastic guests who open up and share their stories. So make sure to subscribe to the Binge on Self-Love on your favorite platform and join me every Tuesday for a brand new episode. Binge on Self-Love podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It doesn't provide professional medical advice and it is not a substitute for diagnosis or treatment. We live in an age where we are no longer setting a benchmark for ourselves based on people in our social circle, based on people we personally know, talk to, work with, love, hang out with, etc. Because now we are setting that benchmark on comparing ourselves with 5 other billion people. I pulled out some stats to put things in context. Social media in 2024 has over 5 billion users, which is over 60% of the entire population. According to market data forecast, the weight loss and diet management market is projected to value at almost $300 billion in 2024. According to factmr.com, the global aesthetic medicine market was valued at $64.6 billion in 2021, with liposuction being the most desired invasive procedure and Botox injections being the top for non-invasive procedures, with the US being the leading market. This comes to show how much we are willing to spend to alter our bodies, our faces, lose weight, diet, etc., because apparently the way we are isn't enough. Now, I don't want to lump all procedures together and say that they are all bad or that you shouldn't get anything done, because I also believe that everyone should have a right to choose what they want for themselves, for their bodies, for their faces, for their appearance in general. And I also believe that sometimes these procedures can change someone's life for the better. But what I also think is that nobody should feel pressured to undergo a procedure or get something done because they feel pressured to, either because of their age, by the social circle they live in, by society, or because of some trend. I am a firm believer that loving yourself, feeling content and happy in your body shouldn't be conditioned by needing to change every single thing about yourself. I think it's similar with the desire to lose weight. When we don't feel happy and we keep convincing ourselves that if we only lost a few more pounds, then we will finally be happy, which isn't true. Like in most cases, that isn't true. You most likely won't be any happier even if you lost all the weight that you want, because you will always feel like you need to lose more and more and more, and it will never feel like it's enough. I believe that it's important to realize and to keep in mind that we live in times where trends not only change as quickly as the weather, but responding to trends is now easier than ever. Whether we are talking about clothes, hairstyles, accessories, but also, unfortunately, plastic surgeries and different procedures and treatments, which are now more accessible than ever, which, like I've said, it can be a good thing, but it can also be a very bad thing. We are exposed to so much more content from all over the world than we've ever been before, which also means that there are so many streams that can influence us. Again, in a good way, but also in a bad way. And like I've mentioned earlier, we are now comparing ourselves not to people in our real life, but to people online, to strangers we've never met, to people we don't know. And the benchmark is no longer based on people that we know, but it's based on the people online. Which you may think like, what's the big deal? But the deal is that we are now taking the expectations from what is the standard to a whole nother level. To try and play the devil's advocate though, I think social media can be an amazing tool and means how to connect with like-minded people, how to get inspired, how to discover new things and places and all that. But I feel like it's also a space that's full of paradoxes, isn't it? On one side of the spectrum, we are exposed to overly edited photos of people with flawless skin, hair, makeup, beautiful outfits, white shiny teeth, beautiful toned bodies, people who have undergone surgeries to change their appearance and all that. And on the other side of the spectrum, there are people that are trying to show more of the reality, normalizing things like wrinkles, belly rolls, bloating, weight fluctuation, stretch marks, acne, scars, eczemas, discoloration, pores, things that most of us deal with and things that are very, very normal. And as much as I love that we are now able to see more and more of the reality and the real content and people showing the reality and not just the flawless, highly edited versions of themselves, I still believe that when you are trying to heal your relationship with food, with your body, learning how to feel comfortable in your skin, learning to appreciate the body that you're in, the online world, whether it's the internet, social media, or media in general, they are all going to play part in the relationship that you have with yourself. And we often forget that social media especially can be a great servant, but a very bad master. What I see as the main problems with social media contributing to the self-doubt, to the unhealthy relationships we had with ourselves, is that social media portray beauty and bodies that are unrealistic, edited, photoshopped, retouched, staged, all that, captured in the very best moment. And they are promoted as something that I'm not saying isn't real, but is more so nobody looks like that all the time. And when we are exposed to these images more and more often, it can kind of lead to believing that this is reality. This is what people look like. This is the standard, the goal that we should be all aiming for. Because whether we like it or not, those people that we think had that perfect body, with air quotes, or perfect face, again with air quotes, usually get praised on social media, and people are admiring their looks, they are asking for tips how to also look this good, how to get the body that they have, how to get their hairstyle, how to get the makeup and all that. Also, another thing with social media and the content on social media is that it put emphasis on certain areas while it leaves out the rest, meaning that we never have the full picture of what someone's like. We only see the very curated version of themselves, which means that we often compare ourselves to that version of someone that we don't even know, and it's someone that we admire or look up to, and they seem to have a perfect life, whereas we struggle with everyday things, for example. Also, what I think is that social media normalizes aesthetic medicine, which again, like I've said multiple times already, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It's great that now we have this awareness of all the possibilities that exist today and that people who need can get more access to procedures that can change their lives for the better. However, at the same time, this means normalizing getting procedures done at a very young age, for example, or when there is just a very minor thing that you don't like. Ultimately, you have an opportunity to go and get that changed. And I feel like that the more we see people, I feel like that the more people are getting these procedures done and sharing that, then the more and more people may start to feel the need to also get something done to reach that new standard and to also kind of feel beautiful in a sense. And I don't think that we need to change our face or change our body or anything in order to feel beautiful. And we especially shouldn't let either social media or some standards or some trends to tell us, yes, this is beautiful, but this is not. And if you want to be beautiful, then you should get this done and this done and this done. Or you should change this and this and this in order to feel beautiful. Another issue that I personally have with social media is that it can increase the satisfaction with your body and your appearance. And I am a walking, talking example of how comparison and nitpicking every tiny detail of yourself can lead to self-hatred, to having zero confidence, and to doubt and self-doubt all the time. And yes, I am aware that that's my fault, that I consume so much content on social media. But also, I believe that a lot of time, as much as I try to kind of curate the content that I consume, it's not always possible for me to avoid seeing these different trends or seeing people being obsessed with their looks or with their bodies or with the number on the scale, etc. So another very important problem is beauty standard. And whether that's the one that we see on social media or that's communicated in media in general, or it's that just our understanding of a beauty standard, the problem is that the general understanding of it is very narrow, very non-inclusive, and it excludes a variety of body shapes, body sizes, skin colors, genders, etc. And if your body type isn't represented enough, then it can make you feel bad about yourself. It can make you feel like you don't belong, or that there's something wrong with you, or that you're not beautiful enough, or that you need to do all of these different things to fit some standard. But in reality, there's totally nothing wrong with you. It's the beauty standard and the diet industry and social media narratives that are twisted and that makes us dislike ourselves. Also, what I think quite often happens on social media is that we kind of degrade ourselves and other people to just, let's say, a pretty face with a pretty body. But in reality, we are so much more than that. Everyone is so much more than that. We are not just these body parts that we are overanalyzing and looking at. There is so much more that makes us us and that cannot be really captured through the lenses of a camera and that cannot really be communicated through a picture or a video on social media. So what can we do to love our bodies when the messages that we often get from social media or society tell us not to love ourselves the way we are and tell us, yeah, if you want to be beautiful, try this diet and wear this type of makeup and maybe consider getting this done because you are at an age where a lot of women or a lot of people get these procedures done. I think that we really have to think critically and use our common sense and be very mindful of what we consume on social media. It's very easy to get lost in the social media loop where we consume a certain type of content and then due to the algorithm, we are exposed to even more of the similar content and then we start to feel like this is reality. This is what all those people look like, this is what people do now, this is what's trendy, maybe this is also something that I should do in order to feel beautiful, in order to be considered beautiful, etc. But that's absolutely not true. You don't need to follow any trend, you don't need to change your body in order to feel beautiful, in order to feel happy and content in your body. What I also think is really, really important in order to give yourself space to really appreciate your body and to appreciate yourself in general is to take your eyes off from your screen more often and spend more time in real life, meaning that when you just look around yourself, you will see such a variety of people, of body types, body shapes, hair, faces, postures, gestures, so many things that often get lost in social media where it seems like everybody looks the same. And just really taking a step back from social media or the internet or movies or whatever, and just looking around yourself and spending more time with people in real life, I believe can make a big difference. One very, very important thing that I personally found helpful many times is trying to shift my focus from appearance and from kind of being obsessed about every tiny detail about myself and not feeling good about something, and shifting my focus from appearance to something else. I am not just like a certain clothing size. I am not just a number on a scale. I am a human being that has different traits. I have so much more to offer, hopefully, than just the way that I look, and we all do. But we often forget that. We often focus just on how we may seem visually in public or to certain people, but in reality, that's not really the most important thing. And also, one very important point is trying to challenge the beauty standards. If we feel like, well, this is the beauty standard that I need to reach out to, this is what I need to strive for, then try to challenge it, even in your head. Like, is this really true? Or is it possible that there maybe isn't such thing like one size fits all, beautiful, perfect body type and whatever that we all need to strive for? And try to challenge the messages that are being communicated your way every single day from all these different sources and streams. And try to challenge that and see how you feel about it. Maybe you will find that not all of the things that we think are true are true. All I know is that I've spent so much time hoping, thinking, trying to look a certain way, trying to reach this perfect body and this perfect face, and then only hating myself for not being able to look that way, or certain things for me are not sustainable and I don't want to spend the rest of my life hating myself or fighting myself and trying to reach something that at the end of the day may not even really make me happy. And I think that there is this false belief that if we look like XYZ, if we were 2 sizes skinnier or if we were younger or whatever, then we would be happier. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to the Binge and Salvav podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube so you don't miss any future episodes. And also make sure to follow Binge and Salvav on Instagram or TikTok, where I share even more content. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a great rest of the week and talk to you soon.